Hello, class. For today, I'm gonna go over tangent graphs for the not just the vertical shift, phase shift, and those things as well. In terms of period-wise, that I'm gonna be postponing till next week. Next week we'll have a comprehensive quiz with all the tangent graph portions of it, and that's going to be it. Starting the week after that, we will be doing the reviews for the final. Okay? Alright, so let's get started here. First, I want to start off with the negative version of tangent of x. Now, yesterday when we have talked about how tangent of x always goes through 0, 0. Let's just use red. 0, 0, and this is pi over 2, and this is negative pi over 2. In other words, the period for every pi waves is pi. I mean, if for every tangent waves is pi. So you draw these two asymptotes, and it goes like this. And it's just waves after waves after waves after waves. That's what tangent waves is going to look like. Now here for negative tangent of x, you're just going to simply take a look at this and pretty much flip it along this x-axis. So if I were to flip this graph along that line, whatever this part was will now end up being like this. Whatever this part was now will end up being like that. So the waves actually look like this. So it's pretty much the wave that's going in the opposite direction. So for negative tangent of x, negative pi over 2, that will still stay the same, but it's going to look like this. Okay, because the negative part will make it positive because double negatives makes it positive. And when you plug in a positive value here, well, negative times positive will just give you a negative value. Okay, so I'm not going to go that too much in detail. I'm not going to really write all that. But remember, yesterday I told you I emphasized on how important it is for you to write none for the amplitude for tangent of x. Now I want to go over questions like these, and then I'm going to give you one more question like that, and then that's going to be it for today. For today, homework, you're going to get similar questions. Suppose, let's say I give you a question like this, and I ask you to fill up all of those 6 components. Now, for the frequency part, we're still just going to say 1, and then the new period is still going to be pi. That will still stay the same. The amplitude, what do we say? We always write none, because for tangent graphs, we really don't have a amplitude. Each increment, we're going to make it pi over 4, but I would honestly make this portion right here into something different. When it's talking about tangent graphs and things like that for now, I would like each increment to be pi over 2 because we're not really talking about period yet. So I would suggest that you guys make it into a pi over 2 situation. Okay? Now phase shift would be pi over 2 to the right, and then vertical shift will be 2 up. So all of those components is there. So I'm going to draw the framework, not vertical frame, like, making the max, middle, and min. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the vertical asymptotes per those x values. So pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, and then 5 pi over 2. I'm going to go in the other direction as well. And so now I have these values, and now what's going to happen is I'm going to move everything to the right. So whatever that was, let's say for example, this tangent wave that looked like this, I'm going to take this wave and I'm going to move it to the right. So what that means is now the pi over 2 is where the mid point is going to be, like where the center is going to be. And then the asymptotes will happen at the 0 and at pi, which means that the period will still be pi radians. That will still be your 1 full wave, and you will continue to do so. So every other one is the midpoint and the vertical asymptote. Oh, and just one more thing I forgot was the vertical shift of 2. So what that means is I'll have to take this wave and I'll have to move it up here like this. Okay, so that means that the pi what is pi, the period will still stay the same. This is pi over 2. And wherever the vertical shift is, that's where your midpoint's going to be. So not here, up here, right? So I'm going to erase this part. So I'm going to draw a wave like this. And the second asymptote will come right here. I'm just going to draw the asymptotes first, so it's a lot easier for me to draw this. And then you just keep on drawing waves on it. You draw make the point, make the midpoint, draw waves, draw waves, draw waves, and then you get the idea. Okay, so that would be your 3 tangent of x minus pi over 2 plus 2. Okay, now similarly, let's try this one. Because there's really no need for me to give you an amplitude, I gave you a negative sign instead. So still write none for the amplitude. Frequency is 1, new period is pi. Remember, we're not going to be talking about changing the frequency or period paradigm until next week. Now each increment, we're going to make it pi over 2 like before. Phase shift is negative pi over 4, or pi over 4 to the left, 3 up. Okay, now how are we going to draw this portion? Try taking a look at these 6 components here and really apply it to the graph, and then once you pause the video and then try it on your own and then check it after you're done. Okay, first I'm going to label the x marks, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, and then 5 pi over 2. Negative pi over 2, negative pi, negative 3 pi over 2, negative 2 pi, negative 5 pi over 2. Okay, and then my vertical shift is 3 units upwards, so that's where my midpoint's going to be. And my phase shift is pi over 4 units to the left, which means it's this one right here. So that's where my starting midpoint is going to be. Now remember, I want to make sure that my vertical asymptotes will happen within a pi, pi period. So if you take notice of the previous graph, every other increment from pi over 2, like every pi over 2 to the left and to the right was your framework, was your vertical asymptotes. So from where you started here, you move left pi over 2, which is 2 increments to the right. So that will be your vertical asymptote. 2 units to the left and 2 units to the right this way. That will be your vertical asymptote. And notice that they don't really necessarily happen at pi over 2 nor negative pi over 2. They happen somewhere between negative pi and negative 3 pi over 2, which is negative 3 pi over 4. And here would be pi over 4. And lo and behold, if you take these two and if you subtract them, you get pi as your period. So that still makes sense. So from here, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 increments. And right in the middle, that's your mid. Right in the middle, that's your mid. And then I'm going to draw another vertical asymptotes. So every 2 increments would be a mid, and every other 2 would be your vertical asymptote. Okay, so now I have my midpoint, and then the middle point, and I have the vertical asymptotes. All I gotta do is just draw a bunch of waves that kind of goes along with the graph. Okay, that little wave part that you draw, I'm not gonna be so strict about that. As long as the midpoint and the vertical asymptotes is sufficient, like precise, then you should be receiving all the points from me. Okay, so I hope this video helped. This work assignment, I know that I usually don't give you assignments on Fridays, but I need you guys to get this done by 11:59 p.m. today. If you don't, then I actually will give you an extension until Sunday to do so, because I don't really want you guys to be using up your weekends to really working on this, but just get this done as soon as possible for me. Thank you. Have a good day.